Midnight Mass is his first original work, and
Hmm.
I think it really does stand out on its own with him using so many things in the show that make sense. Like there are these little moments that I love. First of all, with when Father Paul tells Riley that Joe is absent because he's visiting his sister, even though Riley knows that Joe's sister is dead. So when he goes back to confront him about that, he sees the angel, which is a creature, a vampire, an angel of death. I mean, there are a lot of theories as to what exactly that creature is, and then, he's attacked by him, and then there is like everything that kind of descends from there. I feel like everything just gets worse after Riley meets the angel. Like I feel like that's the tipping point, and that's in episode 4. So everything really like dives into chaos after that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you had like any thoughts about like what the creature was or what the creature is or like its motivations, because like me personally, I just thought this is some ancient creature from the beginning of time that he stumbled upon, and the creature looked at this guy and he was like, you know what, this old bat thinks I'm an angel, and this whole place, listen, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting up out of here. I'm about to get my ride home. This is not going to be a quick little snack. We're going to play along. We're going to see what we can do with this. And I feel like a lot of people were like surprised that the creature seemed intelligent, that it could understand the father, or like it could, give the father its blood or whatever. And I feel like, in a way, I'm not sure if it's an angel. I think it's just like some old creature. If people want to say vampire, I mean like that's fine. Um,
But
I
that's
think
barely covering the surface. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because like you're saying earlier, like I kind of got that same sense. It's like, okay, it's an ancient evil, never should have been on Earth, but now you've given it permission to kind of coexist,
mm-hmm,
and wreak havoc. But the irony to me is it's far from even the biggest evil. The priest welcomed it here, you know,
yeah,
or the evil possessing him. So this is kind of the other funny thing too. It's almost kind of a I'm going to tread lightly. It's almost kind of a schizophrenic kind of who am I more mad at? Your
yeah.
condition or your actual persona. And it's yeah, I think anyone who that's my only issue, and it's not with the show itself. It's that
Mm-hmm,
I saw so many clickbait articles saying, "What is that evil?" I'm like, it's irrelevant, really.
yeah,
It's that's not the point of the show. It's not,
right.
"Whoa, my God, a vampire killed us." It's like, no, that's not.
The
It's all about.
vampire is meant to show you how people will use religion in an extremist sense to kind of explain away the things they do wrong in life. Like people
There
always
you go.
have a Bible verse as an excuse for when they mess up or for when they screw up instead of just taking accountability. Like Riley, could he have just gone on being a vampire and living with Aaron and like, making a new life with her? Absolutely, he could have. Honestly, Riley had every right to start a new life. He deserved it. He wanted to be good.
It
But
was earned.
he said, this is not something I'm going to carry. This is not something I'm going to do. This is going to hurt people, and I can't control this. So if there's no other way for me to get rid of it other than dying, then that's simply all I have to do is simply just die. And he made that choice. So, I mean, you're right in
Right?
saying that, like, the curse. I think that there was one video I watched where someone said that, like, it's possible that the monster is manipulating everyone, and it's not that they're being manipulated. No one's being manipulated here. They're all making their own choices, and they're all making excuses for their
I'm
actions.
glad you bring that up. That's the other thing too. That seems like missing the point of the whole thing. Is like,
Yeah,
no, everybody is damaged goods. To act like there was one pure person here is definitely missing the point.
yeah,
Like, for all we know, there could have been a bigger body count. There could have been plenty of other people who die off screen because they got too close to the evil, because it can
mm-hmm,
corrupt anybody once it. You can't tell me there wouldn't have been at least a few people who would have just surrendered and then made themselves vulnerable to getting taken over by the creature.
yeah.
It's just like,
The creature really didn't have to do much. It just like gave blood, showed up, and then everyone took care of everything else. And it could be that the
Yeah,
creature's done it before, or it could be that it was just looking for a supply.
it
It was
just
just,
needed an opening,
yeah.
and it literally came out. Yeah, but
It could be that the creature just didn't want to be in the desert anymore. That could
yeah,
just be it.
I love that. Yeah,
Because honestly, living in a tomb for however long it was living there, and then getting the
oh.
chance to like be by the seaside, like
Yeah,
maybe that's all. Maybe that's all it wanted, really. And it's not like you have to do much when you have Sister Bev making excuses at every single turn for what you're doing until she literally can't make up any more excuses. You know?
she's running out of BS to feed.
Yes. And it was very like it was honestly alarming when I don't remember who the two guys were that showed up and I think Father Paul's home and she like
Mm.
gets in their face and she's like, like you cannot question what God does. Like she pulled out another verse and I was like, you can't be falling for this. You can't be
Right.
falling for this. You can't be convinced by this. But the thing
Yeah,
is
surely you can
that
do better.
when it comes to certain people, um, if there's something that is in front of you that you do not understand and you can't explain, and someone else has the explanation and they're willing to be delusional enough to convince you, you'll just fall in line with their delusions because at least you're not the only person who's delusional. And
Hmm.
if they are convicted enough to believe it, then you'll believe it too. Even though there's a little part of you that's like, this is wrong, this is strange. You don't have enough you don't have a sense of self, a strong sense of self to, say like, this is not it. Like, this is not something we should be doing. You're fine with just falling in line with everyone else because if everyone else is doing it, it's okay. And if everyone else, gets screwed over, maybe I'll be able to just like, make it or something like
Look at
that.
the look at the next time you look at the depressing news and see that there's a uh, just like an oil spill or somebody downplaying some other corporate disaster. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like there's so many people who want to just sink with the ship, and you're just like, no, it's not working.
Right.
So time to abandon ship and hope we didn't wreck half the planet. It is interesting having to so many people want to like you say explain something away and just downplay it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at your suggestion because that
Yeah.
just doesn't solve it. That's someone else is going to suffer and it's going to become someone else's problem. It's going to you know uh, and this is the right kind of bleak show because you know any other filmmaker would have probably just wanted an even bleaker end, like, oh, it's going to go and destroy the rest of society. It's like, only if you go there. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
kind of a cop out if you just went there. It's like, it's going to just destroy the universe and then make you wonder why you even bothered watching this whole thing. And I
Yeah.
think that's the other thing, too, is like, this is a tragedy and implied this from the get go. We were along because we wanted to still understand how everyone functions
Mm-hmm.
with all the other, priests wrecking it for everybody. Because there's plenty of other movies and shows that can't handle that. But in a lesser hands, this would have been just sappy, and you would have been like, "Why do I want to keep watching nothing's happening and getting resolved?" And this kind of made it clear from the get go. Is like, okay, this is not like any other show because it's focusing on it. Like everybody is going to be thrown through a loop, even the evildoers. We're going to find out not only why they're wrecking the town, but like how they're not themselves lately. There's
Mm-hmm.
something bigger afoot that was still a natural kind of suspense, and at the same time an atypical plot instead of just we're weird because we're weird, or we're
And
strange because.
yeah, and I think that it's easier for people to kind of fall in line because so many good things are happening in the town where like it feels like they're having a religious revival and
Yes.
like everyone's kind of going along with like having midnight mass and doing things a little bit differently at the church and they're not looking too closely
Yes.
because there's an older woman there who's turning younger. There's a young girl who can walk again. There are people who can, have mental clarity and don't need to use their glasses. Like, there are a number of reasons as to why they don't have to question anything because everything seems fine and everything seems good. And it's only people who really aren't like in the bubble and in the circle that are questioning what's going on. And of course,
Mhm.
because they're not really a part of everything and they're not really like in the club, they are seen as jealous, or they're, just trying to like rain on your parade or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't understand it. You don't get it,
Or it's
you know?
because they prayed. No,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Right. Because when the doctor is looking at samples of blood and they suddenly combust into flames whenever they are in direct sunlight, something's wrong. People start
Mhm.
going missing. Obviously, something is wrong.